Before I get all ranty and stuff, just remember that this is a solo dev project. Go easy on them, yeah? Because right now, I am certainly not. So, Kilaflow is this cool new 3D platform that just released not too long ago. As a backer, and someone with a cool pal in the game, which you should totally use by the way, I decided to stream my playthrough on Twitch. Alongside just playing the game normally, I was quite stubborn in trying to platinum each stage along the way, which means getting the gold time, saving all the datites within a stage, and taking no damage. For a lot of stages, this is quite easy, and for harder ones, it offers a unique challenge where you have to think outside the box to succeed. But there would come a stage that would act as such a brick wall that I would throw my hands in the air and play the game casually for the remainder of the playthrough. And it's all thanks to World 5's boss making me realize that for a game that demands precision platforming, and in some instances perfection, it has quite a number of smaller problems that culminate into pain sometimes. Starting off the fight, we have to climb up this tower like it's Donkey Kong. Though, because this is a speed game, we instead flow bounce around each of the platforms. To flow bounce, you simply perform a ground pound and then follow it up with a flow, aka the spin attack you do. This is easier said than done, however, since Kilaflow doesn't have an input buffer for flow bouncing, meaning if you do it too early, the input gets eaten since you can't cancel out of a bounce. But if you do it too late, you either don't get the height you desire, or you end up on the ground and do a slide instead. This is bound to happen if you use the triggers for both flow and bounce due to the travel, which is my preferred method since the default button layout can't be changed in-game. Steam input? Sure, but you try remembering which button is which when it comes time to swap between menu and gameplay. Combine all of this with the timing changing depending on the distance from the ground, and it leads to moments where you have to keep having to retry it and waste time. Which you can't do, by the way, since the gold time requires beating it in 40 seconds. So yeah, clock's ticking. After all that, we finally attack the boss and deal with phase 1 of 3. Except, dealing damage to the boss directly is too slow. Instead, we have to go around the boss and skip straight to the final button, which apparently ends the fight. Sure, there's hints to try this with the poles the game called low bars lit around the first building, but it might not initially click since the boss is surrounded by a death barrier. The last boss where you could skip buttons yielded no tangible benefits, not even silly dialogue, and more importantly, it's a health bar. You usually interpret that you have to deplete it. If there was a hint about potentially skipping the buttons, like Tip Clip yelling at the player for each one they skip, it could definitely help. But for now, it's just a really annoying solution to figure out on your own. So, fine. We skip the buttons and continue to work our way through the rest of the stage. What's next? I mean, part of me wants to complain about the fact that load bars you spin on have no audio cue and are purely visual, but I deal with that by just pressing jump on when I latch on. In truth, I was originally gonna rant about the fact these planes are way too fast for how little warning they give, but apparently Chowco slowed them down while I was making this video. So yeah, you escaped my wrath at planes. For now at least. Which leaves us with the final roadblock. A tower similar to the first phase, but surrounded by glass. So we have to go through each platform one by one as intended. Not a problem. Though to really make this painful, you first have to fit into this gap and avoid both the barrel and the rate limiter. Touch the rate limiter at all, and you can't run for the remainder of the stage. And you'll likely touch it if you brush up against the block you need to slip through.
I actually don't skip the rate limiters in the Platinum. You can play it at bite.
Until I see how it's done with my own eyes, I call stupidity. Plus, even if there was a faster or better way, as Chowco has alluded to, is it consistent enough to warrant using? Cause most of the strategies I ran into are way too inconsistent to be relied on. From bouncing on the barrels and sometimes taking damage, to a cheeky full bounce allowing you to use the balloon to skip parts of the climb. both of which would have likely added another hour or two on the 3 I already spent trying to platinum this stage. By the end of my struggles and attempts, I swallowed my pride and decided to play the rest of the game casually. Cause if the game wants perfection from me, then I want the refinements to make going for it not frustrating. Anyway, I can't recommend Kilaflow enough. $20 on Steam, go play it. But do yourself a favor and wait a bit before trying to platinum everything. Your sanity is important. Mine apparently isn't. Now if you'll excuse me, I have a Kila to constantly blow up.